comment if this is working. So this is episode 7 of We Care Live, and I'm your host, Katie Arlt, with Katie Arlt and Associates Real Estate, also known as KARE, boutique-style independent brokerage company in Georgia. I should probably say boutique-style, kind of what that means. It just means that we're our own company. We're not owned by a bigger franchise like Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker. It's just us. So with that being said, I've got my cash flow hat on today in honor of the $2.2 trillion economic stimulus plan that I believe Congress passed today. Let's see, U.S. House of Representatives passed this historic $2.2 trillion COVID-19 rescue package Friday. I think today it's Friday. Sending it to President Trump for signature. Let's talk about that. By the way, my cash flow hat is from Grant Cardone, 10X, or Cardone Capital. If you don't know who Grant Cardone is, he's one of my favorite authors. He's a speaker, and most of all, he is a big residential multifamily real estate mogul. So if you've ever thought about investing in apartment buildings, check him out, Grant Cardone. I'll have to tag him. Hey, maybe tag Grant Cardone in this video and see if he wants to go live with me, because nobody else does. Today, I'm just going to be talking to you about this package and just a little bit of information that I wrote down. Speaking with my coach this morning, my business coach, and what we were talking about is how everybody is so nervous about things, but he gave me a few statistics to make everybody feel a little bit better about this. Also, for those of you who haven't already heard me say this, our company KARE is offering contactless listing and home selling solutions. So there's a link below with the website on all the different ways that we're getting homes sold right now. We had another closing today, so shout out to Parkway Law Group. Thank you so much for scrambling to get things together and fit us in today so that my clients could move into their new home. It was actually a listing that was owned by another real estate agent that expired, and I called him off market, helped him get it sold. So that was really cool, and it was my buyer. But anyway, so we had that closing today, and we have a few more next week. So let's see how things roll out. Oh yeah, and by the way, thank you so much to all of the service providers that are still working out there. I mean, nurses, doctors, police officers, firefighters, garbage men, my closing attorney. Sorry to put you guys in the category and say garbage men, but honestly, I'm so grateful for everyone that's still working out there, including my agents. Shout out to Katie and Jen and Brittany, our coordinator. You guys are killing it, and I'm so proud of you. This is a time where you can show who you really are and be a leader and step up and help families and just get things moving. Anyway, so with this stimulus package being passed this week, being signed today, I think we really need to take advantage of this, and everybody should get a copy of it or read through. I know that the National Association of Realtors sent out an email with information about it. I printed it out, and I'm going to look through all of the resources, because there's going to be some gold there, whether you're just expecting the check, the stimulus check, or, you know, different ways that you could get a loan for a business right now or have some type of relief or help with what we're all going through. I think that there's some opportunity for us here. I'm certain that there's some opportunity for us here. And also, you know, the Board of Realtors has been fighting hard for the past few weeks for different for votes on the different things to help get things passed, you know, with unemployment and independent contractors and taxes and small business owners, and what different things can help us. What I thought was really cool is that they put a statistic in the email that someone said the real estate industry supports nearly 10 million jobs in the U.S., and that makes up 17% of our economy. So 17% of our economy is being supported by jobs from real estate transactions. Think about how crazy that is, not just being paid for being a real estate agent or company or broker, but all the jobs that are created from each transaction, between 10, 20 plus jobs, from the home inspectors to the appraisers to the paralegals and the processors in the closing attorney's office, and the lenders and their processors and their underwriters and the contractors that are working on homes, the landscapers, the cleaning companies, oh my goodness, the home warranty companies, even after closing, all the jobs that are created from owning a home. It's really incredible to be part of such a great industry that is basically, you know, the straw that stirs the drink and keeps things moving. It's really cool. So I'm grateful for that. Anyway, so looking through some of these different things in the stimulus package that I'll tell you about, I'll get into that. But before I start, I just wanted to also tell you that there's so many positive things that we could think about from this. And I know that, you know, with the amount of deaths, I try not to keep my eyes on the numbers and the news because it really creates a lot of anxiety. And before you know it, I'm live on Facebook saying, oh, I can't breathe today. Is this pollen or coronavirus? And let's just not even go down that road, you know, because there's 331 million people living in the US, right? 331 million people. And unfortunately, very sadly, 1,300 of those people have passed away from getting mixed up with this coronavirus. 90% of them, I believe, I could be wrong on that statistic, but a large percent of them already did have some kind of underlying condition. But unfortunately, 1,300 of those 331 million have passed away. And I could be off on the numbers today. I'm sure my friend Kevin will let me know. 70 plus million people every year get the flu, the regular flu. 30 to 61,000 die from the flu over the last 10 years, you know, each year. Oh, I guess totally over the last 10 years, or maybe for each year. But anyway, whatever. So think about this number right now. You should write this down if you're feeling stressed out. Every single day in the US, 10,500 babies are born. 10,500 babies are born every day in the US. Okay, so this year, you know, every year maybe 30 to 60,000 people are dying from the regular flu, and we've lost, unfortunately, 1,300 or plus, even if it's double today. You know, I don't know what the numbers are, but let's just put it in perspective. Where do you want to spend your time here? Do you want to spend your time focusing on the fact that we've lost 1,300, or do you want to consider, you know, it's definitely not the end of the world. We're not all going to be extinct because 10,500 babies are being born each day. Each day. Is that every day? Each day. Okay, and 9 months from now, that number is probably going to be tripled from what I'm hearing out there with some of you. But anyway, just think about that. You know, that where do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend your time on the rough statistic? Because there are other statistics that we might not be hearing about on the news. The news isn't talking about that. So on We Care Live, we're talking about that good stuff. Another positive thing that I had wrote down this morning was I'm going to go ahead and plan all of my trips because I have something in July. I need to be in Vegas for a convention. I have a trip to the Bahamas planned. I'm supposed to be in Sarasota. I have a lot of trips I need to go on. And guess what? All of the airlines have waived all of the change fees. So go ahead and pay for your flights right now while they're nothing. And you can change them later if you change your mind, right? So that's awesome. Also, my business coach pointed out that the Canadian dollar is worth $1.40 American dollars right now. So let's go shopping in Canada. Go get your passport. Nobody's at the post office. They're still open. All right. Anyway, so about the stimulus package, please, guys, feel free to leave some comments because I'll be honest, I was so busy saving the world in real estate today that I didn't even really have a chance to prepare. I just rushed in here about 3 minutes after 6 and I pressed print from my phone for the stimulus package so we can check this out together. So there's provisions for realtors and their consumers is what I've been focusing on, but a lot of this is not just for real estate agents, it's small businesses and families and teachers and everything. So the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act that Congress voted on, outlines several areas, several different categories. So one is affordable housing. I thought this was really interesting. So, there's 1.25 billion for Section 8 vouchers and rental assistance for seniors, disabled, and low-income working families who will experience a loss of income from the coronavirus. So the government is giving out more Section 8 vouchers than they were before. So whether you're having a hard time with paying rent right now, or if you're considering, hey, Jen, I know, right? Let's go to Canada, because I can think of a whole bunch of handbags that I've been wanting to get for, 40 cents on the dollar less. I guess that would be the math problem. Anyway, whatever. So what I was saying about Section 8 vouchers, whether you're having a hard time paying your rent right now, or whether you're considering buying some apartment buildings like Grant Cardone, or some type of rentals, there's a lot more Section 8 vouchers out there to go around. I'm going to keep that in mind for sure. $5 billion in CDBG to help communities and states. What is CDBG? Does anybody know what CDBG is? Because I'm just going to be honest and say I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to Google that after this. But the government's giving us $5 billion for that. So if anybody needs some money for CDBG, what is the CD? Is that Commercial Development Building Group? Somebody please tell me what that is. Anyway, $1 billion for project-based rental assistance to make up for reduced tenant payments as a result of coronavirus. $50 million for Section 202 housing for the elderly to maintain housing stability and services for low-income seniors. So that is a business opportunity. My brain is just sparking off ideas of what business I want to have in addition to my real estate company. I don't know about you guys, but put on your entrepreneur glasses and read through this. $15 million for Section 811 housing for persons with disabilities to make up for reduced tenant payments as a result of coronavirus. So $15 million for Section 811. All I'm hearing is more money to help pay rent. So this is wonderful. Foreclosure moratorium on all federally backed mortgage loans. That means Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, VA, and USDA for 60 days beginning March 18th, 2020. Okay, so in addition to the foreclosure moratorium, there's also something that I read earlier that you can have a forbearance. Okay, mortgage forbearance. Borrowers of government-backed mortgages can request up to 360-day payment forbearance. 360. I mean, why didn't they just make it 365? It's a year. Where did the 5 days go? No, just playing. Anyway, so this is crazy. I closed a house for a buyer today. They literally could move in and not pay their mortgage for a year if they can't pay their mortgage for a year if they get laid off today. I mean, that is insane. We got them such a great deal too. They the appraisal was higher than the purchase price. We got them a ton of closing costs. We got them a really great home warranty, like the extra package. Man, they're set. All right. So proof of hardship is not necessary. Wow. No additional fees, interest, or penalties can be assessed for the forbearance. So no additional fees. You cannot pay your mortgage for a year and no additional fees except for abandoned or vacant property. And no foreclosure actions for 60 days from 3/18/2020. The stimulus bill may allow Treasury, FHFA/the Fed to create a potential liquidity facility for servicers, but the mechanics of how this access would work must ultimately be decided by the administration, whatever that means. Okay, so back to the affordable housing. There are some more things here that I wanted to say. Owners of multifamily properties who were current on their mortgage payments as of February 1st, 2020, and have federally insured, assisted, or supplemental loans like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or any loans backed or assisted by any branch of the federal government, including LIHTC, may request forbearance for 30 days due to financial hardship with extensions up to a total of 90 days. Borrowers receiving the forbearance may not evict or charge late fees to tenants for the duration of the forbearance period. Wow. So if you own Grant Cardone, if you own apartment buildings and you're having a hard time making your payment, because I know he has FHA backed, I believe, mortgages. Wow, total of 90 days as long as you're not charging any late fees to your tenants. That's cool. So there's also a moratorium on eviction filings, any fees or penalties for tenants for non-payment of rent for 120 days on properties insured, guaranteed, supplemented, protected, or assisted in any way by HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the Rural Housing Voucher Program, covered by the Violence Against Women Act of 1994. Okay, so for 120 days, wow, no evictions, crazy. So there's also more information. Hello. I can't see. Hi, Christian. There's also some information here about banks and credit reporting. Wow. Let's check this out together, why don't we? So there's no, wow. Okay, so these provisions are from January 30th, 2020 up to 120 days after the enactment or the end of the national emergency, right? And if furnishers provide an accommodation and a customer makes a payment, or if no payment is required, then the furnisher must report the credit, the customer's current on their credit. So, wow, if the customer is delinquent before accommodation but brings account current, then the furnisher must report customer's current. So if you are late on a payment before this act, but you bring your account current, then the person that you're paying the bill to must report it as current on your credit. So this is great. Hola. I don't know how, I need to learn Spanish still. I can say not much. Mi casa. That's about all I could say. Okay, let's see. Hopefully I'm not being boring because I'm like so excited over here reading about all of this $2.2 trillion and I'm just in my own world, but I'm just going to keep you guys live and you can hang out with me. All right, so this is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting this. So there's like a whole broadband internet section and there's a Reconnect pilot program, $100 million given out to a grant program overseen by the Department of Agriculture to fund construction and upgrade costs of broadband networks in rural areas. And you know what's really cool about that I realized too is, does anyone else have pollen all over them? Like I am pollen at this point. Hi, I'm pollen. Nice to meet you. Okay, anyway, about the internet. The reason that they did this, which I thought was really cool, and I don't know if it's on here, but I read it somewhere else, but it was because the reason that they worked on the internet and gave the money for the grant is because studies have concluded that in communities where there's a high-speed internet access, there's access to high-speed internet, property values are 6% higher automatically. That's awesome. Just because of high-speed internet. Crazy. Also, there is this number 20 billion? Because there's 3, 6, 9 zeros plus a 20 for transit infrastructure grants. Of the funds provided under this act, 4 billion shall be available for formula grants for rural areas and 16 billion shall be available for urbanized area formula grants. In English, that means they're giving money for infrastructure, transit infrastructure grants. This is an exciting part. The SBA provisions, economic injury disaster loans, EIDL, remember those letters, and 7A payroll protection. So the CARES Act, not the We Care Act, but the CARES Act is dramatically increase the role of small business and, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say SBA loans, small business loans that are backed by the government. But So for any businesses that have been impacted by COVID-19 crisis, there's two main ways that they can get relief, and that is the SBA 7B2 loans and the SBA 7A loans. And both are available for businesses with 500 or less employees that have been negatively impacted by the crisis. And there are also emergency EIDL grants in section 1110. Businesses with 500 employees or less, including sole proprietors, independent contractors, and cooperatives, are eligible for economic industry disaster loans during the covered period of January 31st to December 31st, 2020, in response to COVID-19. The economic injury disaster loans are available for up to $2 million for each business. That's awesome. During the covered period, SBA can determine loan eligibility based solely on the applicant's credit score or use of an alternative appropriate method for determining an applicant's ability to repay. The SBA must waive any personal guarantee on loan advances or loans under $200,000. Legislation provides $10 billion in funding to provide an emergency advance of up to $10 grand, which is forgivable debt. Forgivable debt for small businesses within 3 days of the business applying for the Economic Industry Disaster Loan, EIDL. EIDL loans may be used for the following: paid sick leave to employees impacted by COVID-19, payroll, rent, mortgage payments, debt obligations due to loss of revenues, increased costs for due to chain supply disruptions in materials. This is incredible. Also, SBA 7A Payroll Protection Program, the CARES Act appropriates $349 billion to the 7A loan program, and they'll receive increased funding to allow them to process applications more quickly, which is incredible. If you have ever worked with an SBA loan, and I have a client who is right now, it is very stressful. There's tons of paperwork, and it takes a long time. It's great because sometimes you can get a great big loan with no down payment for a commercial building, but man, it's stressful. So this is great. More funding for people to help help that run a little bit more smoothly. And finally, the grant SBA lender status to lenders that are not currently participating in the program. That's cool. I'm about to call all of my favorite lenders and ask them if they're getting any part of this. Finally, it provides additional grant money for small business development centers around the country to provide an aid and education to small businesses during the crisis and recovery. Wow, that's exciting. Businesses with 500 employees or less, including sole proprietors and independent contractors, are eligible for these SBA 7A loans in response to COVID-19, covering expenses for the period of February 15th, 2020 through June 30th, 2020. The loan amount will be 250% of the average salary expenditures per month for 2019 and up to $10 million. For businesses not open yet in that period, the SBA will even look at earlier receipts from 2020. 7A loans can be used for payroll, including independent contractors like real estate agents and employees who work on commission, rent and mortgage payments, interest and utilities, and all or a portion of these loans will be forgivable for businesses that maintain the same average payroll levels as the previous year. Forgivable amounts phase out as employees lower that amount of as employers lower the amount of employees. So if you're a business owner and you're laying people off, you might not get as much forgivable money from the government from your SBA 7A loan. What does this mean for realtors, for all my real estate people out there who are negatively impacted by the COVID-19 crisis? They are able to apply for SBA 7A loans of up to $10 million to cover business operating costs. I need some more yard signs. Including payroll during the crisis with 500 employees or fewer. That's section 1102, just so you know. Small businesses and commercial tenants Clients of commercial practitioners will be able to apply for these loans to cover business expenses, including rent, mortgage payments, etc. during the crisis. A portion of the loans that goes towards payroll, rent, mortgage interest, and utilities will be made forgivable for employers who maintain their current salary levels for bringing staffing or for bringing their staff and payroll levels back up by April 1st, pre-COVID-19, back up to the same level that you had in payroll before. Hopefully I'm making sense. Wow. So the forgivable amount of money gets phased out if you're having to lay people off. Student loans. Everybody has student loans, right? Student loan payments. Wow. All payments suspended for 6 months. Interest shall not accrue during this forbearance. For the purpose of loan forgiveness, loans will be deemed payable during the forbearance. What? Prohibits negative credit reporting or involuntary debt collection during the forbearance period. Wow, you don't have to pay your student loans for 6 months, and there's no fees. Crazy. I'm not sure if this actually means that your student loans are considered paid for that 6 months. So if anybody knows that, let me know, because that is crazy. I love that. Community Development Block Grant. Jennifer Wren, thank you. So Community Development Block Grant, I'm pretty sure it was like on the sheet and I couldn't figure out what a CDBG was. That's what's up. Thank you. Okay, for taxes. We talked about this the other day when we had David Miller from Aspire CPA Group, but I'll just do a quick recap. So realtors and their families and their clients as well, and most Americans with incomes below the thresholds will receive cash payments from the federal government, cash flow, in the amount of $1,200 per adult plus $500 for each child under the age of 17. These payments should be sent out starting in April. Realtors with retirement accounts, including IRAs, can take early withdrawals of up to $100,000 from those accounts without having to pay the 10% early penalty for taking it out. Those who withdraw funds can recontribute them to the plan over the next 3 years, or can keep the money and pay tax over that 3-year period. That's cool. Realtors who are 70 and a half or older, why do they go for 70 and a half? 70 and a half years old or older don't have to worry about taking the required minimum distributions from their retirement plans in 2020 or pay the taxes on those. If your business has 100 or fewer employees, you can claim refundable employee retention tax credit against payroll taxes of up to $5,000 per employee under certain circumstances. Larger companies can also claim this credit, but with more restrictions. Employers and self-employed individuals can also delay the payment of employer portion of the FICA or the Social Security part of the payroll taxes, or 1/2 of the SECA, the self-employment tax, until after 2020, and 1/2 will be due back in 2021 and the other half in 2022. Businesses with losses can carry back net operating losses from the prior taxable years and get their refunds of earlier taxes paid. So, details. Details about exactly how you can get these credits deposited in your account starting around April. So there are $1,200 for a single filer and $2,400 for joint returns. Hey, what's up? And plus $500 for each child under the age of 17. And the credits are reduced by 5% of the excess of adjusted gross income over these thresholds. So you're still getting payments if you're over the thresholds, but the payments are reduced by 5% of the excess of the adjusted gross income. Okay, so for $75,000 for a single person filing their taxes single filer, whatever you call it, $150,000 for a joint return, $112,500 for a head of household return, And credits will be phased out for income higher than the following amounts. So $99,000 for a single, okay, credits will be fully phased out for income higher than the following amounts. Okay, so if you make more than these 4 amounts that I'm about to say, then you're not going to get anything. But if you're a $99,000, if you made $99,000 on your tax return, your last filed tax return. So if you haven't filed your 2019, then they're going to look at your 2018. They're going to look at your last year filed. So like me, I filed last year. I filed for 2019 already. So they would look at my income. And for a single person with no children, dependents, at $99,000, you would get a credit. And for $198,000 for a couple filing jointly return with no kids, $218,000 is the threshold for a couple filing jointly with 2 children, and $146,000, $500 for a single parent with at least 1 qualifying child. In all cases, the level of income before the phase out is complete increases by 10 grand per child. So if you have 2 kids, then you can raise that threshold by another 10 grand, and each kid you can add a 10 grand on the threshold. So it seems like a lot of people are getting paid. If you're making more than that $146,000, $500 for a single parent with 1 child, or if you're making more than the $99,000 for a single parent with no child, and you have no children at all, then you're not going to get a payment, it sounds like. Okay. So anyway, I think that makes sense. I could be wrong. I'm just trying to analyze this, but it looks like there's no income floor or a phase in. All whose income does not exceed the thresholds will receive the same amount. No tax filers generally need to file a tax return to claim the rebate. Non-tax filers, sorry. So if you don't file taxes, you actually don't even have to file a return to get your rebate. I think I said rebate. I'm done today. This has been a crazy day. It's Friday, so let's have some fun. The credits are not available to anyone who can be claimed as a dependent on another's return. So my kids can't get their own tax payments from the IRS. Sorry, kids. Like my kids don't even want to do their digital workday assignments, so I don't think they're going to be filing for any kind of recovery from the government. Anyway, so these are fully available to the residents of all U.S. territories, including Puerto Rico, and IRS will send out the payments electronically if any tax refund was sent in such a manner for the 2018 or 19 return. Also, there will be a notice by mail to the last known address that the payment has been made electronically. If not, a paper check will be sent. So be careful about throwing out your junk mail. Everybody's going to be answering those scam calls that say that they're the IRS, but guys, don't worry about that. The IRS doesn't call you. They just mail everything in writing, so don't talk to the scammers that call from the IRS. I think one of my kids may or may not have broken their arm, so I hope my check gets here soon. Also, the act calls for a public awareness campaign to inform people about the rebates. Wow, I wonder if I could get paid for this public awareness campaign to inform you guys about the rebates. I mean, how do you, the word is rebate, right? Rebate. If you say a word over and over enough times, it just becomes like another language. Okay, no credit is allowed if the correct ID numbers were not on tax returns. If your social security number was not on the tax return correctly, no credit is allowed, except for the cases of spouses of active military personnel. IRS and Social Security Administration are appropriated extra funds to carry out the rebates. And there's also special rules for withdrawing from your retirement funds right now. That's kind of not good. There's the 10% extra tax on early withdrawals. Okay, so they will not apply to distributions of up to $100,000 related to coronavirus. So if you want to, that's good. If you want to take money out of your retirement fund, that 10% tax isn't going to happen. That usually would happen for taking it out early. And These are for any distributions that were made in 2020 and an individual diagnosed with coronavirus or whose spouse or dependent is diagnosed or who experienced adverse financial consequences as a result of being quarantined, furloughed, or laid off due to such virus or is unable to work due to lack of childcare or closing or reduced hours of her own business, his or her own business. I mean, does anybody have childcare right now? Let me know in the comments where these childcare people are at. Just playing. I know that some people like nurses and doctors like really have to go to work right now and have their childcare. So thank God for the people who are helping the people. Temporary waiver of minimum. Honestly, I can't really read anymore, but I'll tell you what. Let me just see if there's anything super incredible I want to tell you about. What? Modifications for an NOL, net operating losses modifications. Section 2303 allows businesses to carry back net operating losses from 2018, 2019, and 2020 against profitable years up to 5 years and get immediate refunds. The current taxable income limitation is also temporarily removed to allow an NOL to fully offset income. So you can carry over losses for the last, what did that say, since 2018? On your tax return, you can carry over losses from all the way from 2018, 19, 20, 19 and 20, and in profitable years up to 5 years, you can carry over losses. So if you lost a lot of money a couple years ago or this year, and then you end up making a ton of money in the next year after that, you can carry over those losses and actually get a refund, or count that against your taxable income. I'm actually not a professional in this, so contact David Miller with Aspire CPA Group. Delay of payment for your employer payroll taxes. So if you're sending out payroll, that's delayed. What else? Let's see if there's anything else. I will put a link for this in the comments when I hang up. But so cool. So this is just like the National Association of Realtors version, and I'll post a link for it below, but I want to read the whole entire thing because there's gold here. So go find your opportunities. This is like the weirdest time in the world ever, and I am not going to let it affect me and get me down. I decided this is going to be the best year of my life. Why not? So make it the best year of your life too. And check out Grant Cardone. Have a great day. See you later. Oh, by the way, can you please like my Facebook page and my Instagram at KARE Firm? And also, there's a link for our YouTube channel too, so you can check that out. We'll link the live videos down there, or we'll do something. We'll see what happens. Everybody have a great weekend. If you guys miss me, let me know if you want me to be live tomorrow so you don't feel like, all stressed out at 6 o'clock when I don't go live online. Okay, have a great day. Bye. Everybody stay safe. Don't touch your face.